So, Therapist of Blood Betty's actually mixing up a meta I didn't think was going to happen until I saw it live here today, and that is in Celestial Force War. And I'm not talking about like the Lair Expedition that we've been showing you guys a bunch of fights from, but the actual Force Rival Battle, because as you guys know, most people heavily invest into their warrior teams. However, you can just make it so that the enemies can't use their warriors, which still think is a stupid thing. However, now that we have a mage hero that's really strong, it's kind of mixed things up now. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump into some Celestial Force War and see what everybody is doing. So what happens is when we jump into Force Rival here, you'll see the normal map. Nothing has changed there. We can still zoom all the way out. We can see what your team is. But you'll notice the defensive technologies have been manipulated and changed just a little bit. A lot of people going for this node right here. Fortress and Tower reduces damage dealt by mages by 50%. And then on the main castle, mages cannot be deployed. That is a pretty common thing. Hey, look at that. It still doesn't have like English up here. Oh no, never mind. It's because the person named it something specific. But yeah, you can see how that will affect the battles, because if we take a look about everyone around us, here's another one with mage. Here's another one with mage. We can actually take a look at everybody. They have anti-warrior over here. They have anti-mage. They have anti-mage. They have anti-mage. They have anti-warrior. So it's basically just the two of those. And I guess if you actually take a look at the technology, there's actually a couple set up that lets you deploy different ones, which is interesting. So yeah, you can kind of assign whatever you want to be defensive here, which is pretty interesting. There's of course different types of buffs you can still do, but what that does mean is that now when we go to attack other things like this, where we previously really struggled, now it's nowhere near as bad. I'm actually going to buy all extra 10 attacks here today. I do this usually every day. We go into the battle. We can even do a bonus up to additional damage, basically doubles what you do. And now what you get to do is you can actually use heroes that you might not have typically used it. And some of these include being able to CC heroes and stuff like that. So let's jump into this battle. I don't know exactly how I have my heroes set up. Doesn't really matter for something like this too much though. But yeah, you can see we do have our hero. That's going to lower the amount of damage we take, because essentially we're going to be able to CC the little minions a lot more and keep our team alive much longer because of it. Now we get hit with a ton of CC, as you guys can see here, but that's kind of irrelevant because we have time to kind of recoup. Granted, if our damage dealers are CC'd and on top of that the boss is draining energy, it does become a little bit annoying. But really this game mode wasn't too much about, I guess you could say it wasn't too much about, it was basically, it came down to you just weren't allowed to use your warriors. And let's count, we have Doom Terminator Vulcan, we have Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok, and we have Lord of Fear Aspen all in this battle that are very important. Now you might say it might not even be worthwhile using her core, because her getting to 100 energy in battles like this isn't as detrimental. I honestly think a lot of people should continue to use the anti-warrior setups, just because that's where all the big damage dealers are. You got Star Swordsman Mockman, Doom Terminator Vulcan, Lord of Fear Aspen. They do insane amounts of damage, and while I do think Betty is strong, I don't think it's worth going for the anti-tech personally. But again, it just comes down to each person, what they think they should do. We can skip through this. You can see we got 17 points here. Lord of Fear Aspen still being the big champ that he is. Now, in reality, what we probably should be using is his core of origin, mainly because, well, he gives control immunity, and that makes a big difference in the overall score. And you can see here, we are able to start punching through. Everything else is pretty much down. So if we just go ahead here, let's do 14 battles, because I want to use all these up, or a lot of them up right now. So we'll continue to hit through here. It takes a second to calculate everything. It shows you all the hits that you've done. So doing somewhere 17 to 20 points worth, which is pretty good. We're actually able to work through a lot of the damage there. And of course, on top of that, we want to be doing this right here. Smashing this out. Oh, I did not mean to do all four. I meant to just do +1. So we'll have to wait to use some of our other stuff, but it is a big difference to keep an eye out for is how much this is going to influence these battles. I think when you're like on the outside branches, banning the mages is better, but then when you get to the final castle boss, I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. We'll see how this progresses and what people decide to do, and I'll see you guys next time.